Hello everyone. Welcome back to the Mon Ultimate. We're here for the third round of the 100 series. Welcome. And we are here at a pretty wet at the moment Le Mans. It's the usual crown jewel of the WC calendar. And it is a wet session. We're going to take, I'm going to say 5 laps of fuel. But yeah, we're here at Le Mans. Crown Jewel. It's going to be an interesting race, this one. Don't know how strategy is going to go exactly. Because, of course, we've got the long Mulsanne straight. Now, normally, of course, you'd have a couple of chicanes that we break the straight up. But not today. We're running they call it the Mulsanne layout, that does not have the chicanes. Which means, of course, we're going to get quicker laps. More laps in the race. And that will push the race towards a 2-stop. However, as you can see, the chance of rain is very likely for the race. It is variable. I don't know the exact permutations of weather that we could be getting. But it may dry up for the race. It may start dry. I'm not entirely sure. But if it is wet, this track is very, very slippery in the rain. It has been quite difficult, especially with the fact that, of course, with this long Mulsanne straight, we're running the lowest wing we can. It's in P1, P standing for position 1. Of all the positions you can change the wing into. So that means least amount of downforce from the rear wing, but least drag to give us the best top speed possible. We're seeing about 230 kilometers an hour down the straight without a tow. Of course, we can get quite a bit above that, more towards 340 if we do get a slipstream. But we won't be getting a slipstream here in qualifying. It is a private session. Just got to make sure we stay out. Every lap is going to be important here because you never know when the track is going to be at its best. When the rain will get heavier, when it might get lighter, and thus how the track grip will change accordingly. So of course the long straight is going to drain the fuel out quite quickly when it comes to the race, which does push this towards 2-stop, but the rain might slow the laps down enough to allow this to be a 1-stop, though I'm really not sure on that. It's a bit of a twin toss. Whether we have to change tires, if it's wet the entire race, I think we don't need to. If the conditions do change, then yes, we will need to. But we're coming up here to start our first flying lap. Head into T1 the first time. Not flat out in these conditions. Gotta make sure you get the car slow down for the chicane. Patient on the throttle. Go too early, otherwise you will compromise your exit. And this left-hander, go be careful on the exit here through this right-hander. Very difficult traction zone, especially over the crest. Tetra Rouge, most important corner of the track. You want to carry as much speed onto the Mulsanne straight as possible. We will hit VMAX. So we won't, per exit, lose you time all the way to the end of the straight, but we'll lose you quite a bit. Up until about the first chicane, I would say here. There's some braking boards for it. And we pass it on the right-hand side. Carry on. Of course, the next braking point is going to be Mulsanne corner. Difficult braking zone as the track isn't entirely straight coming into it. Of course, we'll be heading in with a few extra kilometers per hour. And then on top of that, we have these slippery, wet conditions. Through the right-hand kick, easy flat in these LMP2s. Braking just before the 100 board. Get the car slowed down, not locking up, which is very easily done. And then we're on our way to Indianapolis. One of the most difficult corners in these conditions as you're trying to brake throughout the right-hander for the left-hander. Then we come to one of the slowest corners of the track, our Narge. Very easy to lock a tire here with how slow it is. Downforce peels off, rely on the mechanical grip, of which there's very little of, not just with these prototypes. Mechanical grip isn't their strong point. Also, the conditions not helping. Then we come up to the Porsche curves, and as we're running mid-aero, they get a bit sketchy. Really feel the minimum aero on the rear end, especially as you try and pick the throttle up through this section here. Ooh, we're sliding towards the wall, didn't quite turn it in early enough to the left-hander. This has been an awful Porsche curves. Just not having the grip. Let's run to the final chicane. Careful, the curbs can unsettle the cars quite a bit. Very slow, very tedious. Careful not to spin the car there. Up to line 33.7, gonna be 2.3 seconds off. Lap times are gonna be quite big around here. Just as people get up to speed with the weather. Hypercar through the first chicane. Already 8 tenths down. Didn't think it was that bad, but start to the lap. It's same conditions for the race, but there is variance in it. So it's the same like weather settings, whether the randomness that the game has, whether it loads in the same or not. That's a different matter. So yeah, we won't know the conditions for the race until we load into the race. The likelihood of rain is pretty likely though. So yeah, currently saying P3. 2.3 seconds off top time, by 8 tenths off the next car in front, 9 tenths. 7 tenths down on this lap so far. Still a lot of lap to go. the exit of the curve. Started to spin the wheels, had to back out the throttle. Yeah, hit the brakes a little bit later, but it was actually slowing the car down a little too much, a little more than I expected. Lock up there pushes us wide of the apex. Costs us a few tenths. Even though it was a small lock-up, pole has been pushed further out. Now we're 3 seconds off the pole. It'll be close if we get 1 or 2 more laps. Car just moving around through these Porsche curves. Trying to balance the throttle, just understeering there. Did make up some time, but not as much time as I was hoping to. Better exit out of the final chicane. There. Again, not very good run through the first chicane. Struggling to get the front end to work how I wanted to. We should get 1 more lap in. Oh, the track's gone to extremely wet. That's probably why I'm struggling for front grip now. See, that first flying lap is so important because the track's only got worse since. And I've been able to find a little bit of time in places, but ultimately it's not enough due to the fact the track just doesn't have the same grip. I mean, I'll take P5 if we end up here. Double front lock up. You can see how little tire wear there is for the wet tires around here. See, made up a few attempts through the Porsche curves, which is very good considering the grip falling away. One more lap here. Dunlop chicane. Trying to pick up the throttle there. Car just wanted to spin. Lost about half second with that. Battery fill up there. It's a bit difficult to manage the battery around this track because on this half of the track, down the Mulsanne straight then to Indianapolis, you really do drain the battery. I think 331 here. Top speed seems to get a little bit better as the stint goes on. But yeah, as I said with battery, you drain a lot of it here on Mulsanne. But then, on the other part of the lap, from Indianapolis here at the end of this straight, all the way to Tetra Rouge, when you get onto Mulsanne for another lap, you're filling the battery up a lot more. Finding some time this lap. Brought the deficit back down to 3/10 down the Mulsanne straight into Mulsanne corner. There is actually theoretically a chance to improve, not enough to get any positions. But we could set better lap time here. Sliding around so much through the Porsche curves. We're basically equal with our delta coming into these final chicanes. Car ran out of fuel at the line. I needed to turn the hybrid up. We were very close on energy as well. So we were. But yeah, track as wet as it can be at the end of that session. Yeah, fuel looks like it's only going to get us 12 laps. If we want to do a 13th lap, we'll need to save some fuel. I want to check here. Right, we have... So we could get 29 laps this race, which we would need to save, like, 4 laps of fuel. And that's 4 long laps of fuel. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be a 2-stop race guaranteed. Especially if it does dry out. Seems like everyone has finished. P5. I'll take that indeed. Heist Porsche. Yeah. As usual, the top 4 we generally haven't had.
And go to the grid for a race start.
The track's dry. The track's dry, but it's gonna rain. I think this is what I want to do. This is interesting. This is interesting. Yeah, you peel off wear on the front left here. Then you do the rest of the tires. So I want to go slightly harder on the front left. I did a little bit of practice. It was in much hotter track conditions, so the track was like 20 degrees warmer, and you needed hard on the front left, medium for the rest of the tires. So, yeah. It's not an easy decision here. You can see some people have gone soft all around, some mediums.
Formation lap has started.
You're kidding me. Oh my god. This is gonna be a race. Drizzle has already started, but everyone has committed to dry tires. It's only a drizzle, but the track is green. The track does not have a lot of grip.
Green flag, green flag.
There. Let's see straight line speed then. I think those that went all medium tires are struggling a lot more than those that went all softs. So even with the slipstream of the Ferrari in front, Ferrari's drawn alongside. Ferrari in front's just pulling away. Track's already damp. Do I go one more lap? Continuing on, bit of a lock up there into the final part of the chicane. Push behind. Good thing about that is we know they're not going to have more straight line speed than us. Tires are getting up to a good temperature now. We have to go, I should be able to hold up better than those that have 4 soft tires. The people on Ford mediums might be a little better off than I am. To light green now. Big look up there. Look up there. Also got to think big picture, you know, if you go 1 lap longer, you know, that gives you 1 more lap of fuel for the next stint. You can go 1 lap longer in that stint, which could help you towards the end of the race. Hit this lap. Feel the grip disappearing through the Porsche curves. And the track is slightly wet, which is usually the indication that it's time for wet tires. that's great. So, quite a few drivers have stayed out. Quite a few have come into the pits. Yeah, track's getting much wetter now. You can visibly see it. Already 14 seconds off the lead. Blimey. We could maybe jump a couple of people that are still yet to have gone one lap longer. A really nice thing there is that we are still in front of all the GT3s. We won't have any GT3 traffic to pass, as that, that could have been a big factor in the strategy. Track's now wet. The front runners still to get to pit lane, and they're going through the most technical part of the track now, the Porsche curves. If they're going to lose time, it's going to be in the Porsche curves, and that's when they're going through that now that the weather is at its worst. Like, it doesn't matter how heavy the rain is down the Mulsanne straight. Because it's a straight. But through the Porsche curves, oh yeah, it really does matter. Just trying to feel the grip. Which there isn't too much of, but there's definitely more than there was in qualifying. Also have to imagine that those that have just pitted gonna be putting an extra lap of fuel. Oh, really close there. We jumped the Peugeot though. For now. Probably be a track limit for the fry up ahead. But we're up into P3 with this strategy. But as you can see, all those that have just pitted, a lot more extra worth of energy. you probably won't be fighting this far in front because the slipstream, or the top speed. And from the practice I did earlier with some AI, the Peugeot has a lot of top speed, it seems. But this way I was barely closing in on one, despite having full slipstream from them. That was the getting the thumbnail. I was just able to pull alongside, and then, you know, once I pulled alongside, had to fall back in line pretty quickly. Interesting to see, because from looking at the pre-race forecast, it seemed like it could stop raining in the second half of the race. Which could be very important, you know, if we have to come into the pits before the track is dried up enough, and then one lap later when it knows, you know, they've gone the extra lap, they could be pitting right on the lap that they need to be pitting on. To step out with that upward line through Indianapolis. Just by getting past the Mustang in time. Peugeot's going to have to wait corner. So yeah, it seems like the Peugeot does have the straight line speed on us, but doesn't have the cornering capabilities. So our pace is somewhat equal, but if they catch up to us, it's going to be difficult to race them. It's a bit difficult to see where that first apex is coming into this chicane. Bit quicker than the Peugeot last lap. So we've opened up a little bit of a gap there. So now we're playing the long game. Track's up to very wet. Bit deep into Mulsanne, but not too bad. Look how much the Peugeot's closed in on us. That gap was like 3.2 starting this lap. It's now 2.6. Starting to come up on more GT3s. This Porsche making it very clear which side of the road they're going to be on, which is appreciated. Hope you see your braking point, because I'm going to obscure it. See how much wetter the track is, how much more how much more shiny it is. Of course, you gotta remember, being a long lap, even if there's the same amount of cars on here as there is at any other track, you're only passing parts of the track half as often as you are on the shorter tracks. You know, with the track being so long, there's effectively only half as many cars on it. A little bit of a slip and slide there into the first chicane. GT3s are so slow sometimes you don't know if they're slowing down to let you through or if that's just their normal speed. Peugeot's much closer to us now because of that, which is not ideal. Glad we just got that fry before this little right-hand kink, otherwise that could have been a little bit awkward. That's the space on the inside. McLaren leaving it very late to pull over for the racing line. Look how much the Peugeot's got up. Might catch the traffic here through the Porsche curves. Thought the McLaren would have turned right a little earlier there. Hopefully the damage isn't too bad. The annoying bit is that's a part of the track where we should be opening a gap to the Peugeot, but we couldn't. So Peugeot 1 second back. Looks like we had a good start to this lap at least. You know, we give ourselves a little bit more of a gap. Is it enough? Bit of slipstream, but look, the Peugeot's closed in by half a second. Front right wanting to lock up an awful lot. GT3 spun. Right, thankfully this straight isn't as long, but the Peugeot is closer to getting slipstream. 2 more GT3 cars to lap. I don't think we're going to catch them before the end of the straight here. We're not. Just have to be patient in passing this Corvette. Now we have free air through the Porsche curves. Oh, the understeer. Just no grip in the track. It's not extremely wet yet. Feels like it is. Bad exit for the Peugeot. Just a lovely front left lock up there. Down to a drizzle. Still says there's light rain on the forecast. Let's see, the Peugeot now is going to be getting slipstream. It's waiting. Alpine is up into 5th. I wonder why the Peugeot's waiting. It can save energy while it's doing that. Which could maybe let it go a lap longer or make its next pit stop a bit shorter. Even an option to repair an orange front bumper. Interesting. definitely had a much better end to this lap than the Peugeot did. Looking at a little bit of a gap to the Peugeot. Back up to 1.1 seconds. Peugeot might be regretting not passing us last lap. Might be. You can see they're still closing in. We get a little bit of time back through Mulsanne corner. Let's not have a big lock up into Indianapolis this time. Big lock up there. I don't know why the front's locked up so much. It's not ideal. Much quicker than car in front. Traffic. And we'll find our way around. Peugeot's lost a lot more time there. We'll take half the track limit point. I think the Alpine has been, yeah, the Alpine definitely has been closing in. Yeah, track is getting better. It's only wet now instead of very wet. You can certainly feel the extra grip from that. Second back gap to the Porsche P5, which is good. Remember, we did qualify P5 this race, so I would say anything beyond P5 is a bonus this race. Especially with how weak the Porsche seems around here. Strategy has given us a chance. It's just whether we can hold, whether it's enough, whether we can hold on as well. Chicane. Oh, Porsche behind has had an issue. They've dropped back, fallen towards the clutches of the Alpine. Just over 40 minutes into the race, just under 59 and a half minutes. We'll be making a pit stop soon. I'll be changing tires. We will just be filling up. laps till we pit. A little bit too cautious into the first chicane. Track is definitely getting grippier. Do I fill the tank, or do I not fill it? We're not going to get to the end of the race. Either way, I don't think. Yeah, we're going to need to pit again. But instead of taking on a full fuel tank and having to carry that weight around until the track dries up, I'd maybe go half a tank, half the weight. Because any extra fuel we take for the next stint, but we don't use, is just unnecessary weight, time lost. But we want to make sure we can go far enough into the race for the track to dry up. How long that will be, I simply don't know. Of course, I love the other drivers around us. Ferrari in front, the two cars behind. BMW lets us very, very generously. I grazed the wall there. Leaders pitted already. Leaders pitted a lap early. I kind of like the play because of traffic. Let's not repair anything though. Just full tank of fuel. Yeah. I did it once in practice too. I just grazed that barrier. And it came up from right suspension damage, but I didn't really feel it. I think I didn't have enough time to really give a proper sort of evaluation there. But it does feel like it's slightly worse. So the time you lose from repairing damage is way too worse. It's really not worth it in this game. Not unless it's, like, undrivable. Yeah, we're slightly right-hand down. Now, of course, we're going to be a little bit slower on this next lap than we would have been if we'd stayed out. Except for the fact we might have been held up by GT3 traffic. Oh. A Ferrari there. Has retired. Interesting. Still doing drizzle. GT3 has had a crash here. What the fuck are you doing? Time we lost from that, but best not to worry about it too much. Still feel the best. Hitting. As long as everyone makes a pit stop, which I think they will do, before the track dries up, you know, so they can't just straight to slicks, they can't, you know, save that pit stop. And with like the little bit right there. Time we're losing on our deltas because of the damage or just heavier fuel. And also partly because I had to weave across the track around the GT3s. hypercars into the pits at the end of this lap. Slide. That Porsche was sliding the whole way through that left-hander. Now, of course, you may be wondering, didn't we pit initially to avoid this traffic? And yes, we did. The reason being is we would have been past half of it on the lap before we pitted if we continued on for one more lap. Just slow down there. And then when we pitted, we'd be behind it all again and have to pass whatever course we had just passed a second time. So there we were just we pitted early to try and make sure we only passed the course once. Now, something else I did notice, the Ferrari that was in P2 before that pit sequence, they've dropped back. So has the Alpine. Now, of course, they will have had longer pit stops because we had one more lap of fuel when we entered the pits. That means, less fuel to fill up and less time spent in pit lane than they did because they had to fill up the full tank. Of course, now we've got a 2-lap offset, but the rain has stopped. So the next time we pit, it's going to be just filling up to go to the end. Oh, that look up. Of course, that's going to lose us a bit of time. Right. I hear that. The racing line goes from the right to the left-hand side, so it's like, right, I'll let you turn to the left. And the GT3 is like, no, I'm just going to sit on the right-hand side. Drying up quite quickly, and next lap I think will let us run to the end of the race. right behind has already pulled the trigger. They've gone full mediums. Just running on the wet part of the track just to try and cool the tires down because they're getting a bit hot. McLaren's staying well out of the way. Peugeot's catching back up and they're definitely going to pass us in the pit sequence. I think I'm maybe one lap just to be safe. I wish I could see the times if there was a half-pitted. You can see a dry line is starting to form. Leader steady. I'm gonna risk it. Peugeot does not follow. Oh, here we go again. Very awkward between us and the other Porsche. But we're way now. Time to try and get these tires up to temperature. The Porsche will probably come out in front of us just because of the energy difference. Of course, cool tires. Alpine is going to have warmer tires behind us. But towards the end of the race, when the track has dried out, there will be the question of overheating, especially the front left tire. That's why I've put a medium on that corner. Brakes, because tires are still cold. Don't know exactly how much grip I'm gonna have. Tires aren't fully up to temperature, but I definitely feel like it's slick time. which is helping us. If the Peugeot is staying out and the slicks are better, we might be back in contention to beating the Peugeot. Yeah, there's so much more grip. I just need to be brave, be confident. 30 minutes to go in the race. And it really is race on. Yeah, Alpine 324. The Alpine was like 4 seconds quicker than the Peugeot last lap. I think we maybe should have pitted a lap earlier. Track is still slightly wet, but the slick tires are better. Leader is it? Also, I see second place. The Peugeot might be getting stuck up in BIF GT3 traffic. That they will have to repass. So it could be a double loss for the Peugeot. Softs for the leader. Are they staying out? Is the Peugeot staying out? To the pits now. That's a little understeer. Left isn't quite up to temperature yet. In fact, none of the tires are at optimal temperature. Gonna be close here with the Peugeot. There they are. They're on cool tires though. I'm a little short on energy. I think I might have to save a little bit. At That's all right. Minutes to go in the race. We're in a battle for P2 here. On the wet part of the track, a little bit sketchy there. I did. Also, that portion fifth. I don't know if they're making the end of this race. They needed to be like 2 laps shorter than what we're expecting. I don't think the Peugeot is going to wait around this time. Maybe we can do one more lap. Alpine's coming quick. There's nothing I can do here. Look at that. Barely closing. slipstream. It's not gonna help. I don't think I'm gonna get it. And they're just out of the slipstream. Yeah, look at that, we're opening the gap up for Alpine. Remain. Fucking McLaren! Just stick to your fucking racing line! was massive. That was so lucky with that Mustang. We have the energy. It's more of a question of do we have the fuel? Cadillac has got a DT. 2.5, yeah, we're pretty safe. Track's still considered damp. Interesting. I'm going to increase the hybrids at the end just to try and help us be safe on the fuel, but only once we get past the long straights. Also, look at the tires now. Definitely, you know, we'd be considering, we'd be going a step harder if this race was completely dry. I think we are safe. Just need to bring in mistakes. It's final lap, so not too worried about knocking the tires up. If anything, Alpine feels like they've admitted defeat here. That McLaren give me a worry. Half a litre. Alpine set personal best on the final lap. P3 then. I'll take that. Oh, that was frustrating at the end with that McLaren. Like, I was like, right, I'm gonna get on the exit here. I'll pull over to the left because it'll take its racing line. And then it pulls over to the left. So, you know, I have to adjust my line. And to do that, I have to slow down just a little bit more than I normally would have. The Alpine can come by, you know, full pace. Yeah. P3. I'll take that. I'll take that. That is a... That's an interesting race. Interesting. A couple of DNFs in hypercars. Quite a few DNFs in the GT3s. Yeah. Well, let us move on, as usual, to Art of Rally. Also, for whatever reason, Discord, like, the automatically enable and disable streamer mode thing has decided to break for whatever reason. I don't know why. But that is a bit annoying. I have to go and do it manually now. There we go. So, daily event then. We did the weekly event on Friday, of course. Where we got 41st. Let's see what we can do today. Group 2 car for 5.6 kilometers of Kenya in the dark at night. Let us see. Alpine A110. Mid-engined rear-wheel drive. You can tell that by how it sort of drifted into the corner. half the stage now. It's been going well so far. Has felt clean. Of course, I don't know how quick it's been. We'll only find that out at the end. I seen that sign. It's like, okay, the track goes right or left here. I couldn't see which way behind the tree, and with sort of the direction of the sign, I was like, I think it must go left here. Thinking the sign was more parallel to the road direction, but it was instead placed perpendicularly. That's even a word. There's the finish. 25th. Okay, I mean, we definitely could have been maybe top 20 if we didn't make that mistake. That cost us a couple of seconds. But yeah, I'll take that. Not too badly. Yeah, that is going to do it for today's stream. What a race. Yeah, that's definitely up there in one of my in one of the great races. That start where um we had dry conditions, but the rain started as soon as that formation for the start began. As soon as we started rolling for the formation for the start. You cannot make that up. I mean, I guess you kind of can. I don't know if you can set the settings to be that specific, but blimey, yeah. Yeah, that certainly was an interesting start. The people that picked medium tires got screwed over with that because they just never got the temperature in. It's like, yeah, you might as well go soft. Oh, with the medium front left, okay, we maybe lost out a little bit, but not as much as those that took all four mediums. I'm surprised everyone else um didn't mix compounds. Um, but yeah, fun race. The strategy did did we pull out the right strategy in pitting when we did? I don't know. It's hard to say. I think um definitely if we for the second pit stop switching or the third pit stop, sorry, switching back to dry tires. That was either the right lap or we should have gone one lap earlier. The only difference is we should have taken 1% more fuel and energy. That would have we wouldn't have had to lift and coasted. Would have made the end a little bit easier. Um, but yeah, that's a minor thing. We still got to the end. Um, yeah, 1% would have had us flat out to the end. Um, the first pit stop, should we have gone a lap later? It wouldn't have saved us from making that second pit stop. But it would have meant the wet tires might have been in a better state towards the end of that wet period, just before we changed to slicks. So maybe, but yeah, it's hard to say. Hard to say without like more information from like the drivers that did make the alternate strategies did go in a different direction. So um, yeah, an interesting race still. Definitely one of the more enjoyable races I've had on the game, and yeah, yeah, again, has me looking forward to the rest of the series. Um, Speaking of which, tomorrow we will be back. We'll be back with the GT3 Festival at 7:30 p.m. UK time. We are at Portimao tomorrow, so that'll be quite interesting. See how we can go in the Mustang round there. And then on before that, we might be doing the WRC series. I might have something happening in the afternoon. Um, so might not happen, might happen. Not entirely sure. We'll have to play it by ear tomorrow. We'll see how tomorrow unfolds. Um, and yeah, and then after that, we will be back. It'll probably be Sunday again. Yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a break, as our Friday series finished last week. Um, so yeah, and I've got some other things I need to do and prepare for over the week. So yeah, go take it a little bit easier. For the next week. And yeah, we'll see if anything else comes up to sort of fill our week out a little bit more. Beyond this Sunday and Monday series that we have going on, sort of at the end of the ending and starting the week. Um, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Thank you, Geeky. Thank you, Ars, for coming on and chatting. Thank you to anyone else who was lurking throughout stream or was watching the VOD back. Um, Hopefully, I will see you tomorrow. If not, I'll hopefully see you next weekend. But until then, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Enjoy start of your week or your entire week if I don't see you. And yeah, until next time, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.